What's going on, guys? It's Matt. In this video, we're going to talk about how I mark my charts up. Marking your charts up is the single most important thing to learn how to do before you think about entering a trade or doing any sort of analyzing. So what I do first is I mark our major support and resistance zones. This is Euro JPY. Obviously, it doesn't matter what chart you're on. And right now, we're going to go to the 4-hour time frame to start it. Let me go 4-hour there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our 4-hour time frame, and we're going to look for the most recent support and resistance zones. We have some pretty major ones here that are quite obvious. And the way I draw these is from the bottom of the lowest lows to the top of the lowest lows. So if you could see here, we have two different lows here that I used. We have a low here, we have a low here. Same with we have a low here and we have a low here. So that's going to be our zone. Our zone is going to be this red box that I just drew here. That is our support zone, first support zone that we're going to draw. The second one is going to be a resistance zone. Similarly, we're going to do the same thing here. We have kind of one down here. We're going to draw it just to right there. So there is our our first resistance zone. It kind of goes into there and it's going to tap just these barely. So we've set that up. Now what we have is called range twos. There's two other ranges that we're going to look at here. The first one that we're going to look at is we've had support up in this area right over here. This area right here, we had kind of a support here where it struggled to break it. It broke it here, but we had support there. And you had resistance all at these points right here. All at these points. So what we're going to do is put one through the middle there. That acts as our range 2, kind of a middle range in between the area that we're trading in. We're just going to kind of go right through here, make sure it's touching the tops of those. And again, this is a zone. It's not a line. It's a zone. So there's our second zone. Now what we can do is hop down to the 1-hour time frame here. And what we can do is zoom in and take a look. So now we know that we rejected the major support now 1, 2, 3, 4 times. We've rejected the support. This is a very strong support. We're also at a resistance here where you could have gotten faked out if you entered a sell right here, which is why we always wait for 3 confirmations. But it's important to notice that it did come back down into this range right here after it barely got over the resistance. So this is still a valid resistance. Now, if we're going to look at entering somewhere, we're going to need to see some sort of rejection here, or we're going to need to see some sort of movement showing that it's going above the zone. So what we're going to either want to see is a break and retest, and then we could enter off the move this way to fill this potential zone up here. Or the opposite, we're going to want to see it reject this, possibly come back up and reject again as a second or third confirmation, and then we'd enter on the downfall here, where ideally we'd hope it to fill to this range down here. This range would be filled on the sell, this range would be filled on the buy. It's important to understand that you need to have multiple confirmations though, because if you were to take this right here, if we took a buy right here, or if we took a sell right here, then we would have gotten faked out and you would have had quite a few pips there. If we took a sell here, you'd be negative 100 pips at the top of that. You would have stopped out. That's what's called a fake out. We want to avoid those fake outs. In order to avoid those, we need to wait for 3 other confirmations. So now that we have potentially 2, if not 3 coming up here, we could look to enter a sell here. We have one where it didn't. This was a fake out. It did not fully break out from this middle zone and drive up. Came back down. We had it test here, and now we're having it test here again. What we're going to want to see is some sort of rejection here. So back to the beginning of the video, we're talking about setting up our charts here. Without this information, without this chart being set up the way it is, using support and resistance zones that have been dictated by past chart representation, it's very hard to trade. But now that we have an idea of where there are zones of difficulty that price has trouble breaking, we can look to enter trades with higher profitability and higher probability that they're going to hit. If you like this video, make sure that you subscribe and like to the channel. I'll be posting more videos like this all the time to help you guys become more profitable traders.